Alright, this is going to be a little video on how to tune the stick dulcimer and just a little thought about tuning itself. I just put up a little piece by Bach, Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring, and Bach was active during the Baroque period of music, and before really the Baroque era, the pitch of instruments was not fixed. You might go to one part of Europe and they would be playing A at 395 or A at 415. And kind of at the end of that era, that's when concert pitch kind of became established. And what I mean by concert pitch is give you a physical representation of this. So this squiggly line here represents the sound wave, okay? And these little up and downs are cycles per second, or hertz, okay? So if you have an A note that is tuned to A440, which is concert pitch, that means that these waves are cycling up and down at 440 hertz, or cycles per second, okay? So that's what's meant by concert pitch. A can also cycle at a lower rate, like A415, which was another kind of a tuning that became sort of popular in the Baroque era because of the way harpsichords were tuned. They could just shift a note down and be in tune with other things. Not so much a problem for stringed instruments because there can be some adjustment. Like I can tune I could tune an instrument to A415 that has strings on it, or even lower. But if you have an instrument like a flute that has, it's fixed, its pitch is fixed, and if it's at 390 and everybody else is playing at A440, well then it's out of tune with everybody else. So that kind of gives you an idea of what is meant by A440. So now this instrument is tuned up to concert pitch, and the reason I know that is because I have an electronic tuner here, and it gives me a electronic signal when I tune the string up or down and I bring it within pitch. Okay, what I want you to do is I'm going to give you these notes. I'm going to play them slowly and let them ring, and you're going to take the tuner that controls your first string and you're going to move it up or down, whichever way it needs to go, in order to bring it into tune with this string. Okay, now I'm going to raise it up a little bit. And then bring it down. There's concert D. I'm going to bring it down. Bring it up. Okay, so you want to adjust the string until it's sounding identical as this one is sounding. Same thing for the A string, the middle string. And now lastly the thick string, the D, which is 8 notes apart from the upper D. Yeah, they sound the same, one's just lower. Kind of got a bright sound, and A440 is great, but since I'm a solo player, I never play with anybody, unfortunately, but I I like to experiment with different pitches and kind of different tunings as well. But so I think that all instruments, stringed instruments especially, have a pitch, A440, A415, A420, whatever that might be, in which the instrument itself resonates the best. Okay, and so, you know, the higher frequencies can be strident. You know, they can sound a little. So what I like to do, I pretty much always tune my instruments down. Okay, now that doesn't mean that they're not at A440. Okay, that means that I'm dropping them into a lower tuning. Okay, they're still going to be in tune, and it's still A440, but instead of A, we're dropping it down a half step. So the instrument, instead of being tuned at A, would be tuned at G sharp. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example of that. So I'm going to back the strings off now, and I'm going to drop each string a half step. Doesn't have to be much. See, it has a different sound, a different texture, and sweeter sound actually. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to play these strings so that you'll have a tonic reference in order to, if you want to play around with tuning your instrument down. So here's the first string. Little string. And then the third string. Which again is an octave apart, just a half step lower. Okay, so instead of D-A-D, it's C sharp, G sharp, C sharp. So there's a little bit about tuning, and I hope it helps.